everyone. So it is not even 8 a.m. on Saturday morning, and I'm gonna walk around my garden and show you the humiliating reality of this Florida drought, because it's real to me. And I know a lot of places in Florida it has been raining like crazy, especially in South Florida, where I was at my brother-in-law's the other day. Their yard just is holding water, and it was raining while we were there. There's water all over the sides of the road. But in my part of Central Florida, it is not rained in almost a month again. And it is so dry that even my native plants that could probably withstand dry temperatures or dry conditions are suffering. And it's quite challenging to keep it all watered, and quite honestly I don't want to, because that's why I plant native plants. So this video for me is going to be, like a reminder of, okay, well, maybe our climate is not going to be as rainy as it once was. And if that's the reality, then I need to start planting things that are more tolerant of dry conditions, especially dry shade conditions, because things that I even have in the shade are wilting daily, and it's crazy. So yeah, I'm gonna walk around and show you everything. There are some things that I'm proud of, so we might focus on those from here on out. But yeah, so thank you for watching, and let me show you what's happening. So I'm gonna start here on this side of my yard. Not much is different, except, like I said, lack of rain. Over here, this is my compost bin. I spent a lot of time, flipping compost the other day, so that's all done. That board fell over. This is my daughter's window area. A lot of the sweet potato vines died back for some reason. That is a sad hibiscus. I'm just going to let it be sad and irrigate it. I'm not going to cut it back because it's a new plant. I need it to soak up all the energy it can so it can come back next year. But, it's just one of those things. It's so dry, and hibiscus like pretty moist soil usually. Not wet, but pretty moist. As always, this salvia you cannot go wrong with. It just performs so well. I have it planted multiple places, and I just cut a bunch of it back, so this one has rebloomed. I love that plant. It gets huge. So everything's a little, at the end of the summer, kind of waning, and then we're waiting for some things to pick back up in the fall. So it's okay. Here is the papaya tree that I planted a year ago, and it has finally gotten some size on it, and I'm guessing it might start fruiting, but the fruit this late in the year probably will not ripen in my experience. So the best bet is I'll just use the green papayas for, savory dishes instead of, fresh sweet papaya. I have this whole, something that's doing good. This whole border is a ground cover of longevity spinach. So this is a full edible border here. And I mean, it does its thing. It likes the shade, it likes the sun, likes the heat, it likes the cold. Well, the cold, like super cold, it'll die back a tiny bit, but it's a wonderful plant, and it's fully edible. I use that a lot instead of lettuce during the summer when a lot of the other greens are not performing yet or producing yet, or what should I say, I haven't even planted them yet. But yeah, it's a great plant. This is another one of those salvias that I need to come in and cut back. So they get a little leggy, but then you cut them back and they pop right back out. I actually have one back there I need to transplant. This will remind me to do that. And then this is just a work in progress. I have a native silver buttonwood here. My plan is I have one there, and one there. So they'll get kind of tall, you know, about 15-20 feet, and then they will be a nice focal point over the grass walkway here. Don't mind that big thing on the ground. I have a new tree stand that I'm just testing out to make sure it functions properly. But this is the area that I'm still really loving. We have the native firebush. We have pink muhly grass, which I am just now seeing. And if you can, I don't know if it's focusing on that, but it's going to start pluming out. So this is going to be a really pretty pink fluffy grass in a few weeks at the very most. So between that and the other silver buttonwood, the cranberry hibiscus is going to start blooming soon in the fall. Well, we are in the fall, but later in the fall. And then I have a mulberry tree, and then a Meyer lemon, and there's some more pigeon peas over here. They're starting to bloom at the top. So all of the pigeon peas in my yard are going to be blooming very soon. You'll notice sporadic red salvia that is just reseeding itself all over my yard. I like the red, but I found out that I like the pink salvia better, but I definitely don't take it out because the bumblebees and hummingbirds love that plant. So definitely recommend the red salvia, pink salvia, white salvia, but definitely the red for hummingbirds. This is the rattlesnake master plant, and it is just a great pollinator plant when it's in bloom. And then now the seed heads are left. I did take out some seed heads because it just flopped so far over, but I left a few, of course. There's another muhly grass in there. So there's more interest coming in this bed with the muhly grass about to bloom and the pigeon peas, so that'll be nice. Another one there. Some lemongrass, and then more pigeon peas here. You can tell this got pretty dry at one point because of the yellowing of the leaves, but like I said, I was irrigating and I try, but nothing can match what rain can do, and we just are so dry that you can't help it. I'm happy. Let's see, what is this, October 6th today, 7th? This is a native flatwood plum tree. It is a one I transplanted, and it is doing great now. It does need a little water, but like I said, I can only do so much. I'm sorry, little plant. I'm still waiting for my American witch hazel to bloom. It didn't have leaves this year because of transplant shock, but it is alive, so I'm really hoping that it actually blooms, because I don't know where it would have got all the energy to actually bloom this year. But I'm monitoring it. Oh, sorry, the camera. I'm looking at the plant, not the camera. And we'll see, but sometimes you just have to be patient and give plants the time they need, because it's not always going to be perfect when you plant something. And yeah, got some velvet beans growing along the fence. I have another couple muhly grasses, and this is my oak leaf hydrangea. They are doing all right. I have big plans for this area, but it's one that I kind of stick something out here and then I work on something else, and as I find something, I stick it out here and I move on. But these oak leaf hydrangeas get far less water than the one up front, and the one up front is massive. So I probably should water. I probably should put this bed on drip irrigation, but it's just one of those things. You like my bench? That is my expensive seating area, so I can sit in this part of the garden. Over here, these are my shampoo gingers that did not perform this year. I had one cone last year. It's probably just a fluke. this year none of them produced, but that's normal for the first year in the ground to just suck up as much energy as possible. And the next year I should get cones. Also, it was super dry, so they are a moisture loving plant for sure. Here are my beauty berries. I mean, you can't go wrong with beauty berries. I had full intentions of making jam or syrup, but then I said, you know what, everything has been so wacky with the weather that I can rely on this plant to provide forage for the birds. There's a lot of different migratory birds that while they're not here right this second, they will be coming through, and I try to leave as many things with seed heads and nesting material and berries as I can for those birds. So I think I'm just gonna leave this one alone. So we'll try next year. I mean, I'm not too worried about eating beauty berries, so it's fine. Let's see. Oh, here's my fire pit bed, and even my railroad vine is not looking the best. It outgrew the bed so far by, like right here, that I came by yesterday and just mowed everything. I've collected all the seeds that I'm going to collect, so I just said, you know what, let me go ahead and cut the grass. The grass was growing up through it, but I've left it all year, so I just cut it all back, and it probably will reflush. We're not too late in the season for it not to. But like I said, it's been so dry. Like, this is a beach plant. And I know beach is just full sand, but it does have, pretty good moisture down in the sand. So we do not have any moisture in our sand right now, even with the pond right there. It's so crazy. So crazy. And then this border is just not looking the best, but I cut a lot of stuff back. In the next coming weeks, I'm going to go and buy a bunch of native grasses, and this is going to be transforming into like a native grass border, and I'm going to leave little pockets for perennials like the pink salvia and the purple salvia, and just make it a very drought tolerant, low maintenance border. But for the season, I had planted lots of holy basil, and this is Thai basil. And I realized, like, there's so many things that have these tall, like, spiky blooms on them that it just looked kind of messy. But you live and you learn. And I cut a lot of stuff back. There's a lot of openings. There's more of the red salvia. Like, even these really drought-tolerant, what are they called? Velvet beans are turning yellow because of the lack of water. But you can only water so much. I do irrigate, because if I didn't irrigate, it would be completely brown. So, whatever. But this is the pink salvia. It's another Florida native. I just like that combination with the purple that I have in this bed. Like I said, I cut back right there. There's a purple salvia. There was one right there too. So I'm just waiting for that to flush out. In the next few weeks, it'll look like that first one that I showed you guys. There's my bunny statue. I have some zinnias that I replanted, but this time of year, I don't know if the zinnias have as much vigor as they do in the spring. So they're blooming on the porch, but I don't know. Some more. This is Thai basil. Before the season's over, I'll come in and I'll harvest the leaves and I'll harvest the flowers, and I'm sure it's reseeded itself, tenfold by now. There's lots of native milkweed in this bed. There's one right here, but they are all chewed back right now because they've been being used by the monarchs. I've noticed a lot less monarch activity this year, but they're still here for sure. And we probably will be getting more as the fall moves on, because you know, we're on their migratory path. There's resident monarchs here, but there's also, we get the migratory ones as well. So make sure you have stuff blooming during this time of year. Here's my other mulberry. This one I cut back so I can kind of do an experiment. They're both dwarf mulberries, but I wanted to see if I cut one back, if it would produce more or how it would look. The other one is well over 6 feet tall. This one is about 4 feet tall. So the spotted bee balm, which is one of my favorite natives, is not looking the best, but it's not dead yet, and it still has flowers on it. So I will leave it until the very end of the season, and birds do eat the seeds out of this. So it's an important plant to have. I do have some other natives. This is starry rosinweed. It's really pretty, but it's being engulfed by the spotted bee balm. And I have some other natives in here that I already cut back for the season. The bumblebees love these purple salvias so much that I went by and cut most of them back, but I did leave a couple, so I'll cut them back in succession. That way they still have some forage. And then more this red salvia. Like I said, it reseeds like crazy. Here is another huge holy basil. And then my swamp pots are dry, it seems. This is Brown's Savory. Of course, it's a native plant, and it was doing okay. I probably need to come in here and add water. That plant can actually hold like actual water in the pot, and it thrives. So I need to come do that because I forgot. Brown Savory and aquatic milkweed is in that pot. But yeah, so the goldenrod, the early goldenrod is starting to go into seed, but then we have some still in bloom, and that's very much the show right now is the goldenrod. I have, oh look here, see the pink starting to pop out of the muhly grass. So this will bring a much needed pop of color and, you know, fun to the garden when everything is so dry, and makes me so aggravated because I don't like irrigating. But I mean, look at that. You can tell where I irrigate and where it's just suffering. But that's one of my goals, is not to irrigate as much as possible. Don't use fertilizer on your lawn. You know, get rid of as much lawn as you can. Add beneficial plants that are going to serve you and the ecosystem. I mean, you can't help in these times of our climate changing that some things that did well once are not going to do well forever. And then this ground cover of this creeping sage, you know, it did so well for only about a month because it started raining, and then it said, nope, the rain's over and so am I. But this little pocket is actually quite sweet. This is mostly all natives in here. There's more bee balm, coral honeysuckle, more muhly grass, and then we have the goldenrod, the beauty berries. Let's see. And like I said, this was all green. Like, you couldn't see any of that brown ground. Brown ground. That's not hard to say. But yeah, it just got super dry again, so off it went. I have some native corky stem, some passion flower vines in there, and yeah. And then we go up that way towards the garden. I moved so I didn't have to go under the hammock. There's another pigeon pea out here. Obviously this one's smaller because it's in more shade. And then this is what I am most annoyed about, is my American elderberry, because I really wanted this to produce, and it does love moist conditions. So there's nothing I can do to water this plant in this spot right here to give it what it needs. and I have it over in another spot of my garden and it's not working. So there might just be some plants. Oh no, look, there's this morning glory plant that I hate. I like it, but I hate it. But there might be just some plants that just don't do well in your space. And to me, when I look at something, so I can either grow this plant, have it suffer, give it more water, more attention, and hope that it flowers and produces berries for what I want. Or I can buy organic elderberries, dried, or the syrup, or, and that is actually, it's more cost effective, and it's supporting another local, business, and I'm not stressing over this plant. So sometimes there's just some things that it's not worth growing yourself if it's struggling. So I think that might be one for now I might get rid of and put something else here that brings me joy and actually provides something to me or the wildlife, what have you. So it is what it is. There's the pineapples over here, a small fig. It was a cutting and it's actually doing really well. So next year, hopefully it'll produce. And then I have this, is not a native plant, but I just love it so much. It is a sweet almond, and it can get really big if I let it. But it smells like heaven, and I love it. It gives me this smell, like memory from my childhood, of that Jergens almond lotion. And yeah, so I like it. And it kind of creates, like a hedge, a border here, so I'm leaving it. And then we're back to my vegetable garden. Before I'm done, I just wanted to come over here to my porch, since I'm not going to make a separate video about it. But I have, my little dry riverbed, which is very dry right now. There's some tomatoes that popped up in here. These are Everglades tomatoes, so I'm going to let it be. I tend to let things live where they want to. That's how you get the most production from certain things. And then this is a Elliott's Purple Love Grass, which is starting. I had two and I accidentally mowed one off, and then I covered it in mulch. Or maybe I pulled it because I thought it was regular grass. I was so upset. But you see, it looks, it can look like regular grass if it was smaller. So that's my bad. So I'm going to get another one to add to here, because I have that one, and I have a love grass, the regular love grass that just popped up on its own over there. And I'm going to, add a couple more. So up here on my porch, there's just a few pots. There's that lemongrass that I used as mulch the other day. I have a cucumber growing, some white zinnias that are growing in these pots, and I have a pepper with a cucumber, and then some nasturtiums in here. The pepper, I need to come harvest that. So we're still doing good. Oh, I wanted to show, that's kind of fast, is the blooms on top of the pigeon pea. I just said how it's going to start blooming, and it already is. So it's going to be covered in white blooms soon. So super excited. I mean yellow blooms, not white. Anyways, back over here. The rice did okay this year. The rice last year was much better because it actually rained, and rice like bog conditions. So if I even go one day where I don't fill these pots with water, they start to look like that, which they come back the next day, but they're so probably root bound right now that they just dry out so fast. But I will get some rice seed heads from them eventually. But I have some tomatoes. This was the tomato that I just cut a slice of tomato and put it under the soil, and it's growing. And I've got 3 there from that one and 1 right there. So it does work. If you don't have any experience growing tomatoes from seed, you can literally take a seed or a slice of tomato from the grocery store, pop it in under the soil, and it'll grow. My green stalks, though, I'm really excited about. This is, I forgot if this one was dino kale or there's something called Vates kale, but I think this is the dino kale on top. They're all doing really good. I have, I have mint growing in the second one. I have some alyssum on the third one. I have chamomile growing on this one down here. I need to come in and thin some of that. And then I have a different kind of kale on the bottom one. Oh shoot. Oh no. I have mint growing here too. That's right. The mint is growing like through all the different little pots. There's more of the railroad vine. And then this one, the last thing I'll show, this is called cardinal basil. And basil during this time of the year where it starts to get cool is definitely a hit or miss. And when plants are stressed, they are more attractive to pests. And what I notice is these new leaves keep getting aphids. And so I don't know if it's the aphids causing the curl, but they keep curling at the top, and it's making me mad because it's supposed to have pretty red tops on it, and I'm not getting any of that because I keep pinching off the tops. But in all of these tops, there's just curled aphid infested leaves. So it is what it is. Like I said, it's getting to the time of the year where basil is not at its best. So I should just eat the leaves that are good and move on. But I do have lots of calendula in here, like I showed the other day. And then the pockets that I take this basil out, like this one and that one, I'm going to come and pop a cauliflower or a broccoli and see how they do. Because I have one down there. I have one strawberry survivor left that has a couple little pups on it. I wish this one would reach up here. I could pin it in there. And then, yeah, so the calendula is starting to bloom. That broccoli down there is doing its thing. Yeah, so that is the green stalk. Can't go wrong with those. They're a great addition to my garden. And then this is another just little pot of alyssum and a couple tomato seedlings, which this, if you look at this is all leaf miners, and they can just decimate a tiny plant. That's what I was saying. Tomatoes just are hit or miss in Florida. If you can, go to your local farmer's market and buy tomatoes. If you're stressing out about tomatoes, it's definitely worth it. I mean, I went and found the whole box of tomatoes for $5 the other day. Guarantee you I have more in seeds and time and water and soil than $5, and I might not get tomatoes from something. So sometimes you just have to weigh the costs. So that will do it for today. Thank you for watching. Sorry that things don't look more beautiful, but Florida sucks right now. And I'm just appreciating the things that are doing well. I'm able to still provide things for wildlife. I'm still able to harvest things for my family and make medicinal things. So I mean, for all that, I'm proud. But a lot of times when you're growing things for those purposes, it's not going to look pretty all the time, and you just have to know that that's okay. But yeah, so thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.